People always ask me, what drives you to be motivated? What keeps you going forward? How is your mindset like stainless steel? How don't you let things affect you? How do you keep going? All these questions I keep getting. And through my training and my experience and my reading and my coaching, I found there's two major reasons for motivation or discipline or drive, because motivation is not even there every single day. The first thing is pain. You'll hear people say like, I never want to go back to being broke, or I remember how it felt to live in that house with no water, or I remember how it felt to work 60 hours a week, or I never want to go back to all that overtime. These are people that run from pain. They have the pain stored in the back of their mind and they don't want to go back to it. But there's also pleasure, and these are the people that say, I want to have the nice boat, I want to have the nice house, I want to have the nice cars, I want to be rich, I want to be financially free, I want to do what I want when I want. These are people that store in the forefront of their mind pleasure points, and they run towards that pleasure. And a lot of times humans run from pain or run towards pleasure. And I always tell people it's one thing to choose your pain or pleasure, or maybe even it's a little bit of both. You run from a little bit of pain, you run towards pleasure, you have them both stored in your mind. But what really separates the people that go all the way with this? What separates the people that are driven every single day when they wake up and they don't stop? I think it's how they keep it on the forefront of their mind. Because right now you could think of your pain or pleasure and say, okay, I got it, I'm thinking about it, this is what's going to drive me forward. But if tomorrow you wake up and there's a bunch of distractions, bad environment, things that take you away from driving towards your pleasure and driving away from your pain, it's going to fade out very quickly. I don't feel well, I still have to come out here and perform well every single time, so I say my feelings. Doesn't matter how I feel. I got people on this call waiting for me. I got a client on the phone waiting for me. None of my feelings matter, so I turn my feelings off. The only feelings that matter are your feelings, are the client's feelings, are the emotions in which it takes to win the day, win the deal, win your goals. Those are the feelings that matter. So you have to get to a state where it's like, look, doesn't matter how you feel or what's going on, you have to perform. Bruce Buffer always performs. Doesn't matter if he's in China, Africa, Lebanon, America, 6 in the morning, 3 in the morning, time zone change. 10 years from now, I don't know, he's probably in his 60s right now. The guy's performing. His feelings didn't matter, he performs regardless. If it's Sunday, Monday, late call, early call. The only way you could churn off your feelings and only count the feelings that matter for your client is if you stop prejudging. Stop prejudging. I'm so sick of people saying, and I'm sorry if anybody on the call gets offended because I'm offended by it as well, and that's why I'm saying I'm so sick of people saying,
oh, did you hear his voice? Oh, it's Indian. Oh, it's this person. Oh, it's this, that.
Like, we gotta stop prejudging people. Like, if you can't originate somebody because of their culture, because they're Indian, for example, you're not a great salesperson. I could probably count 100 Indians that I've done loans for, 100 Arabs that I've done loans for, Jews, Christians, everybody. You can't prejudge anybody. And I keep hearing prejudging go, or like, no, this guy right here, man, he wasn't a relationship kind of guy. The f you mean he's not a relationship kind of guy? You're saying that person would have never enjoyed you learning their goals and customizing an option for their goals, or was it that you're not a relationship guy? Was it because they're Indian, or is it because you suck and you don't know how to talk to people? So we gotta stop prejudging. Or like, no, this one here, this one's gonna shop regardless. Like, just because you said they're gonna shop regardless, they're gonna end up shopping regardless. Don't you understand? You're affirming their actions and putting it into existence. This is the hardest part about sales, but if you truly understand it and you enjoy it and you create friendships, sales will become very easy for you. And it's very hard because it's a habit. Salespeople have a habit of not building relationships, of going too fast, of just going through the sheet, dot, 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 dot. Like, if I'm following my GPS to get to a location, how often am I going to turn a completely different way and go down a different road? It doesn't happen often because the GPS is so easy and it's in front of me and it's telling me where to go. So what we do is we pull up these sales sheets or these qualifying sheets and it's right in front of us, and your brain's not going to comprehend like, oh, ask about their kids, go here, oh, they just left here, because that's not easy to do. Instead, it's easier to go to the next line and fill out the next thing that you need and just try to rush through the phone call. Now, at the same time, I'm not saying spend an hour or 2 hours on a phone call and then find out the client just wanted to talk to you, didn't want to do any business with you. I'm saying do it strategically. And a lot of times it'll take me 18 to 25 minutes to have a great phone call that has all of this included in it. And I showed you guys some of those call clips and how they sound. So are you actively building relationships through active active listening. And then the most important part is bringing it with you to the end. You know, active listening and building relationships and listening to the introduction and how they sound and going 3-4 layers deep on an objection to truly understand it and squashing that objection over and over again is all important. But ultimately, if you don't bring this stuff to your presentation and show them that you actively listen with the custom touch that we always talk about, it's worthless. It's worthless. Time and emotion are probably the two most important things when it comes to negotiation. They either create power or they take power away. You're trying to purchase a property, purchase a business, purchase an object, and the other party that you're trying to purchase from or do business with knows that there's a time constraint. They have power over you because of the time constraint. Let's say they know the deadline is Friday and it's Tuesday and it's Wednesday and they know you eventually have to move and you're out of options and they're your only option. Well, they hold a certain power over you. So if you're the person trying to negotiate, it's very important that you don't let somebody take advantage or find out your weakness through time. You always have to make sure that time is not a big deal. Regardless of the situation, and even if it is a big deal, you gotta pretend like it's not. Now, when it comes to the other end of things, the best example I could give salespeople is like the last day of the month, or the last day of closing, or the last day of the year, or the last day of the quarter. When somebody's trying to hit a quota, and then that desperation kind of comes out of their breath and the client starts sensing the desperation. You text them 16 times in one day. You call them 8 times in a row because they don't answer you once. When the other person senses that you're trying to do business with, that you're selling something to a product or service, if you're blowing them up and you're desperate for some reason because you're trying to get that deal, because you have a time constraint on you, or you have somebody putting pressure on you, and you're showing that to your potential client, you just gave them power because now they know you're desperate for their business. I'm not a coach that's going to tell you back in my days, here's the way I used to do it. It's somebody that's doing it every single day. It's almost like a cancer with people that say that the reason they're not successful is because of the market. As a matter of fact, I have a branch myself with West Capital Lending, and I found myself like 3 weeks ago inside of my own huddle with my team, excusing a low day of production and saying, guys, I understand it's a tough market. And as soon as I said that, I said, shit, they got me. I've been infected. Because that's what it is. It's a disease and an infection. Once I said that, I corrected myself, and then I went back and originated a couple of deals. We had a great day, and I said, it's not the market. Don't ever say that again. So like when I leave voicemails and I leave emails and I leave texts, I never say like, hey, I've been calling you for days. I need to get this deal. We need to get your documents. We need to get this. I never come from a point of desperation. It's always a point of value and why they need this. Market shifted a ton of times. My schedule's packing up. I know this meant a lot to you and your family because we're accomplishing A, B, and C for you. Please give me a call before 5 p.m. today and let me know if you're still interested or if I should withdraw the file. I never want to withdraw without speaking to you first. That's why I'm sending you this message. I know it's super important to you. Like, that's a message I'm sending out saying like, hey, I'm not desperate. Here's what we're doing for you. I know it makes sense. My schedule's full. Things are getting tight. Do you want to do this or not? And that could sense some urgency for somebody. So you got to leverage time. Even if it's something where you need it for time, do not ever say that you need it for time. Don't ever mention your quota. Don't ever get that desperation and blow somebody up because you're under that constraint. You want to use time to your leverage.
I never ever wasted anybody's money or time. Any job I had or any role I had, I took it extremely serious because I knew what it takes to operate a business. I know how stressful it can be for bills, and I know the people that are leading these businesses also have dreams, why, pain, and pleasures that they're running from and running towards. And I hold a lot of respect and ethics for that.
I got a message about, hey, I was finally able to propose to my girl, after many years. I was finally able to buy my parents a house. Yeah, I was finally able to get an Xbox for my kids. When I started getting those kind of messages, I realized that really the most important thing to me was having a bigger impact and having those kind of stories, because it's one thing for me to change a couple people's lives one-on-one, but to change people's lives that are then going and changing other people's lives, the connection's much bigger. And I figured, what would I rather do and what would I rather die with? Would I rather die as a salesperson, or
Or would I rather die as a leader and consultant that's changed many people's lives, and those people change many people's lives, and those people change many people's lives?
When I do one-on-ones with my people, I have pen and paper or I'm typing. And they're like, why are you typing? Why don't you just talk to me? Well, because I want to make sure the next time I meet with you, I'm not in the dark and I don't ask you the same thing over again. I want to go through the notes from last time, make sure that I was present and I'm present for this next one and I know exactly where we left off, so I know how to keep forwarding your career through our one-on-ones. And every single one-on-one I do with you, I'm going to mention something from the last one. I want to bring it with me to this one and keep bringing things with me to keep progressing you in your life, whether that's with our relationship or that's with your goals that you're trying to accomplish or your opportunities that you need help with. I'm going to actively listen and I'm going to bring that stuff with me.
A lot of people out there that train or coach people tell you the way it's supposed to be done and they disappear. So I show you the way it's supposed to be done, then I tell you the why behind why that's important to get it done that way, but then I tell you to use your own personality and flavor, so I help you create it in your own way, because that's the only way you're going to execute on it. You can't talk like me, I can't talk like you, but you could use your personality to put your own swag on it. I could use my personality to put my own swag on it. Now it's your play, it's Ben's play, it's not mine anymore, because you took my play and you kind of twisted it a little to what works for you. Then I give you a one-pager to fill it out on. I give you a script, I give you a template, so now I make it easy for you to do, and then I practice it, make sure that you've memorized it and you're good at doing it. Then we take off the blindfold and let you do it on your own. Then I go a step higher, go to your leader, say, hey, this is what they're doing. Here's how you hold them accountable to it. Here's how you draw a contest to it. Here's how you give an award for it. Here's how you make it a stamp in your business so that everybody that comes is going to do it the same exact way. And we build the uniformity across the board. So that's like one example. It's a lot more than just giving you a sales tip. It's engraving a sales tip in your mind, using your own personality to create it, and making sure the leadership in the company and the culture stands behind it all the way and makes it automated and part of their traditions and part of their business as well.
Look, I was always the kind of guy that said, like, give me pen and paper, give me yellow pages, I don't need anything. I'll sell anytime to anyone, anywhere. Even at Rocket Mortgage, when I was working there in 2015, there would be times where the tech would go down. We thought we were getting hacked. The internet wasn't working. Something would be going on. And what would happen? Everybody would panic. And they'd be like, oh, we can't do anything. We can't work. I look around and say, you idiots, give me the phone. And I get pen and paper and I stack up 5, 10 presentations. And the next day I have 5, 6, 7, 8 loans, because I was the only one that still used the phone with pen and paper, saying, I don't need a CRM. I don't need to price anything. I'm selling dreams. I'm selling ideas. I'll figure out the numbers later.
If your life's not going good personally, your life's not going to be going good in business, right? So a lot of them, a lot of times, have shit going on in their life. Parents are getting split up. They're having relationship issues. They're behind on bills, whatever it might be. If they take those problems with them to work, that's going to create more problems at work. But if they separate those problems from work and they say, I have a bunch of problems in my life. If I do better at work, these problems are going to get better. But if I do worse at work, these problems are going to get worse. Then they'll understand the only way for my problems to vanish or get better is for me to do better at work. So they start separating it, leaving the bullshit outside the door and focusing on what they need to do to grow in their life and do better.
First thing that popped up when I searched success in my Google Drive was this picture with me in the background. And I remember I had this picture up on my wall with my team, and it was something I always talked about. Empty your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water. You put water into a cup, it becomes a cup. You put water into a teapot, it becomes a teapot. Water can flow or creep or drip or crash, be water, my friends. And when I think about this quote from Bruce Lee, he was so focused and in a flow state when he practiced and when he fought that nothing would cross his mind but his craft. And when I think about what we do every single day, I think to myself, do we ever get into that flow state? And I'm sure we've all had times where we've gotten at least close to that flow state. And the first thing I want you to do and think about is think about a time where you're like, I did feel like Bruce Lee. I was like water. Nothing could get in my way at that time. Think about that specific time in the past that you've had. What were the circumstances like then? You know, if you want to become successful and you want to stay successful, you have to identify the formula of what it takes to be successful. Everything changes when you believe in your product or service. Meaning, if I'm selling an automatic vacuum and I'm like, oh, I sell vacuums. I don't care about vacuums. I hate vacuums.
but let me try to sell this many vacuums so I can make this much money. I'm not going to be enthusiastic about selling vacuums. I'm not going to be passionate about selling vacuums. I'm probably not going to do well at selling vacuums. But if I switched that thought process and said, look, automatic vacuums help people gain more time. The most important currency people have is time, because time is worth more than money. Okay, almost worth the same exact amount of health, because you need time to have health. So now it changes my thought process, and I'm selling this automatic vacuum, but I'm really selling what that person does with that time. And that's a bigger sale. That's a bigger benefit. That's a bigger realization, because now Martha, who's going to save an hour a day using the automatic vacuum instead of her vacuuming her house, what does that 1 hour do for her in her life? Does she get to go to the gym in that 1 hour? And does it mean she's going to be fit and healthy and look good and feel good and change her life for the better? Does she get to spend time with her kids in that 1 hour? And does that mean that she gets to build more quality time, build better relationship with her kids? Does she get to watch her favorite TV show with that hour, and then she figures out that she's not so drained and she starts feeling better about her life and that she does have time for herself? And then I could go to people's houses, knocking door by door and figuring out, if you had an extra hour in your day, what would you do at that time? And I can make the whole conversation based off of that, build a relationship off of that, and the automatic vacuum is just a surprise at the end to help them save that time. You see how I just took a boring vacuum sale and made it exciting and about freedom in somebody's life instead of just about a vacuum? Take that same exact example and think about the product or service you're selling, and stop selling the product or service. Stop focusing on the numbers. Stop making it a transactional relationship and start focusing on your product or service. What are 3 to 5 things it does for somebody in their life? And how does it make their life better? And envision how it makes their life better and believe that it makes their life better. And then start having conversations about how their life looks after your product or service. And that's what the mind shift is. You see, a lot of salespeople are selling their products or services just based off the benefits of what it does for them right now. They're not selling the future benefits, what their life looks like after, and they're not digging deep enough to really understand. You're not begging them. You're not pushing them. You're solving for something they need in their life. You're making their lives truly better with this product or service and what it brings to their reality.
A clean slate, meaning you don't go to sleep, missed calls, text messages, things you got to do, forgetting what happened. You clean your slate at night. You come in the morning, it's probably going to be still clean. You'll have a couple, maybe a couple little sprinkles to take care of. You work throughout the day. You clean your stuff at night. Clean your space at night. Empty your stuff at night. Have clarity when you go home. Have clarity when you come in. And you keep that clarity, and that clarity turns into a superpower, because you've seen struggling salespeople. You've seen forgetful salespeople. You've seen messy salespeople.
And sales, you have to be ready for every single objection. And as a matter of fact, you have to expect the objections. Then you have to squash the objections. So any client I talk to, people ask me, how am I so quick to respond? I already think the client's a shopper, they're a waiter, they're a spouser. All of these things are already in my head for everybody I talk to. And because it's already in my head, there's not much you could tell me or do to me to shock me. You're shopping? Yeah, of course, I love shoppers. I shop myself. As a matter of fact, I'm a professional shopper for you. Your wife's on board, right? Well, let's go over her goals, because I like to make sure that the wife and the husband are both on board when I talk to them, because I'm married myself and I know how that works. Waiting is a great thing. Waiting right now is not the greatest thing. Let me tell you the reason why. I'm squashing these objections. I'm bringing them up before the client even brings them up, so there's nothing left for them to object. Why? Because I'm prepared for it. I'm expecting the worst, but I'm affirming the best. But I'm still ready for the worst while I'm affirming the best. Every single day I wake up like it's fight or flight. I don't care how big of a cushion I have in the bank. I don't care how many companies I'm working with. I don't care how many people are subscribed to my academy. I don't care how much money I'm currently making. I pretend that I'm broke every single day and I could lose it all. And I've kept that with me every single day because I feel like that's very powerful. You ever meet somebody, or maybe it's even yourself, that when something happens and the chips are down, or like, somebody's doing shitty at a certain thing, and then suddenly they're like, look, man, like, you're gonna get fired, or like, you're not gonna be a leader anymore. You see a different version of them come out for 1 week or 2 weeks. You're like, damn, where was this person at the whole time? Or a contest comes out, or there's an opportunity to get promoted, opportunity to win something, and you see a different version of this person come out. You're like, where has that person been? Well, it's because their back was against the wall. You had to force that to come out. Sometimes we overcomplicate things, we worry about things, but something happens, like you throw out your back, you lose a loved one, somebody gets an illness, you talk to somebody that has it a lot worse than you, and it makes you realize, you get a rush of gratitude, and you say to yourself, everything is okay. I'm doing fine. Everything's going well in my life. And you have to remind yourself of that and be grateful for that, because everything could not be fine and everything could be in shambles. And you could get one phone call right now that could ruin your whole entire life. You could get one phone call right now that could
God forbid, let's not even go there. But anything can change at the glimpse of a moment. So everything is okay. We're really doing a good job. And you got to remind yourself of that and pat yourself on the back.